So Dennis, you've been in financial planning for nearly 40 years now. So you are probably one of the best people to ask. What is one of the biggest myths about retirement?
Oh, the biggest myths about retirement. Well, I think there's more than one. The biggest myth about retirement is perhaps it's just slippers and gardening. It's not. Or that you can actually get to retirement without some form of preparation. Actually, that's the myth, is that you don't have to prepare for it, because you do. If you're going to enter retirement and have any form of purpose, it's got to be planned for.
I've heard you talking about don't sleepwalk into retirement, and I think that's probably what you're referring to there. So people sort of not even thinking about it and just drifting up to retirement age, and then what next?
Increasingly over the years, as I've been doing this work, we can plan for the financial aspects of retirement. People have got an idea of broadly what they want to spend. I would say that's the easy bit of what we do. The other bit is encouraging people to have a wider conversation about what they want to do with that last third of their life. It's a long time. You know, if you're retiring at 60, 65, you could be 85, 90 or longer. That's a huge chunk of time that you've got to fill. And if you've got enough money for it, that's fine. And I find, and I don't mean to be gender specific, but women have been so much better at it than men. They've, they've kind of have their groups, their friends, they've had children, whatever it is. Men find that their identity for so long has been wrapped up in the job. And when the job finishes, what is my purpose in life anymore? What do I do? And some have got that really worked out. They'll move into voluntary or they'll do other things. But a lot of men find they're lost for a while.
And I've seen that, with people that I know, not so much my own family, but I've definitely seen men sort of drifting into, well, I'll play golf, or,
Yeah. Oh, that
they
can
have a bit
take
of
up a
a
long.
stereotype, and yeah, exactly, that can take all day. But is that all that's out there for people? And also, do you think people are perhaps slightly wrong about what they're going to be doing in retirement? They might think that they're just going to be relaxing, playing golf, watching Homes Under the Hammer. And then do they know what really happens?
I've seen on a number of occasions where the first retirement is a trial run. They've decided to stop work, sell their business or something else, and they do all of those things that they promised themselves they were going to do. We're going to go traveling. We're going to do this. We get the house fixed. We're getting the garden fixed, all of those things. And then 18 months later, they're twiddling their thumbs and desperate, absolutely desperate to get back to work. And they'll go back to work for another 1 or 2 years. But now they're figuring out what it is they're going to do. They've had a go at retirement. They've done all the things they want to do, but it wasn't delivering quite what they wanted. Work is familiar. It gives them a reason to get out of bed every morning, and they'll go back to work and do something and have that sense of purpose. I use purpose as a word a lot. Get that sense of purpose until they're figuring out what they're going to do over the next 5, 10 or 15 years. And for some people, that may be work. For other people, it might be getting involved in their community or something else. But you cannot not have a plan.
Okay, so how can we prevent that then? And how do you prevent that? That getting to retirement, doing one thing, finding it's not for you, trying something else, maybe that's not right either. How do we stop people sort of falling foul of those kind of missteps at retirement?
I think that planners like me have got to be brave enough to have that conversation that is probably more emotional and, I suppose, less embedded in data and money and tax rates, and more about, well, we've proven there's enough, but we've created enough money for you to do what you want to do. What do you want to do? Really, what are you going to do? Not 1 year from now, not 2 years from now. What are you going to do? and have really deep, meaningful human conversations, essentially about the meaning of that third phase of your life. Because we want to feel as though we have, or we're giving some value, we're making a contribution somewhere. Certainly I do, and I know the people I speak to do.
And do you think people find it hard to answer those questions when you first ask them?
It can take years sometimes to understand what that is, because you go to work, you might be in a very high intensive role, you might be getting a business to kind of groom that for sale or something. It's all encompassing. It's what you've been doing maybe for the last 30 or 40 years, to suddenly stop and not have anything else to do, and you haven't had the time to think about it, which is very often the case, and to come up with an answer on day one doesn't happen. And so you'll fill that time with maybe toys or the things that you've enjoyed in the downtime when you're working, but find that they aren't enough to sustain you 12 months of the year, every year. They're enough for 2 weeks, but what is sustainable for the rest of your life? And those are the conversations that we need to have. And that's where the real value lies, in part of long-term financial life planning.
And I have another question, actually. We didn't coin the phrase ourselves, but I like the phrase rewirement instead of retirement. And I think that probably sums up what you're trying to say, is that retirement has such a, there's a stereotypical idea of what it might be. And it's a kind of charging down,
Yeah.
opposed to doing anything that's...
Well, I remember my
positive.
grandparents were that generation where work, pension from the company, walk, basically. And that's all they did, cloth cap, get out of the door and do some walking every day, and that's it. But that's not what we want out of life anymore. Our health is better for longer. Our minds are better for longer. Our life is longer. We've got to be just not marking time, to use a military phrase. We're not just standing on the spot marching. We are wanting to progress. We are wanting to contribute. We are wanting to do things within our community. And the money, if we get it right, helps us. But we need to have the time to think about what that is.